Okay, hello there. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. How are you doing? I hope everything is fine. In the previous video, we looked at MySQL and then how to connect it to with PHP, and we ended up creating a simple login page registration page without any styling. Now today what we're gonna do is simple. We're going to continue from there, but now this time we're gonna add a login page and also try to log in users. Once the users have been logged in, we try to send them to maybe say another home page, like a home page or a landing page, which we won't style for today, but we shall add the styling later. So let's begin. Now I'm going to create a simple login page which just has just a few fields, probably for the username and then the password, and that would be all. Then later on we can change it to something else. Maybe say you could just look at email and then the password, and that would be fine as well. So let's create the page. I've started here. I'm gonna start with the HTML tag. Let's give the language attribute also and say we're gonna support English in this page, and close this HTML tag. Let's add the head tag for this case, and in the head tag we're gonna have some few more tags like the title tag, the meta tags. And for the meta tag we're gonna look at the first one, the character set. So the character set is what we're gonna look at first, and it's going to store for us the format will be UTF-8. And then another meta tag that we probably may want to add will be for the viewport, and usually I like adding the viewport in this case, so let's give it a name, and then we'll say it's for viewport. And after adding my viewport, we need to give it a content. So for the content of the viewport, we're going to say that okay, we're gonna use the device width and the normal device width in this case, which is gonna be just the device width like that. And we can add the scaling. So the initial scale, we set it to the default, which is 1.0. Okay, and that should be enough for our meta tag. Then later on we can add a title page, the title of our document, which in this case we're just calling it a simple login. Could I say login system instead? Yep, something like that. Then close that. But we go to the head, to the body section. So in the body section, this is where we're gonna put our form. And after we have put our forms, we can now go ahead and try to add something else. So in the body, I'm gonna give a heading which will just contain something like a welcome remark or something. First, we start with a container which will be keeping the entirety of our HTML, the login form. So we have this div. We can style it by giving it a class. We shall style it later. Let's give it a class called login container, and we shall use this one later. Then afterwards let's add one more div where we shall put in our the heading of our form. And in this div I can give it a class also, class attribute called let's give it the same name again, but this case we should put it for heading, so something like that. Then in our heading we just want some two text. Let me use a H2. It may not be big enough, so I can just say welcome back, just in case maybe say the user had been here before, because they had already created an account, so we assume that they had been here before, so we welcome them back and maybe say tell them what to do. Sometimes it's good to tell the users what you expect them to do, like that is like a call to action, want them to do something. So we go ahead and say that okay, just please be a little bit polite, enter your details, in this case to sign in or to log in, either of that. So any word that you prefer to use, that would be better. So that is our head section. Now later we can now go ahead and start putting our form. So we're gonna have a form tag here, And this form I'm gonna have a method and the method we're gonna use is the post as usual, as we used in the previous video. Then the action attribute where we're gonna send the user. Last time we used the self, that is, we sent the user to the same page, but this time around we're going to create a new file called let's say signin.php. I'm gonna create a new file called signin.php to use as our action page, where we're going to handle this form once the user have already clicked the button. Okay, so the first thing, let's create a div with a class called form group. Form group, we're going to use it for styling our input elements, and then other thing else, like say the text or any other thing. So let's close this one here. I usually love closing my tags earlier before I forget everything, because it's very easy to forget that. So in the label, I'm going to say that this label is for the email. Okay, is what I'm going to put the text for the email. So I put here email. Should I add a colon? No, let me just leave it as that. So I close this label tag, and then I can put my input tag here, which is gonna be of type email. Why? Because I want to add email in this case, and I give it a ID attribute. Will I use this ID? No, I won't use it. So let me just put the name attribute, which I will use it later. So I say it's email, and let's say it's required, so that the user must at least enter this value before they click in. I mean, before they click the the submit button or the login button. Then another div, I'm going to add another div here, or another form group. So I'm going to just copy this to save time and paste it here, and I'm gonna say this is going to be have a forming group. Then the label will be for password instead, password. Then the label name itself is gonna be password. Okay, then the type here is going to be password for my input, and we could actually go ahead and add something more. Then the name here is going to be password. Okay, such that I can go ahead and ask the user to enter that. Then let me add a placeholder here, so that I can tell the user what I'm expecting there, which is saying enter your password. So I close that. I can add a placeholder also for the email just after the name attribute here. So I add the placeholder attribute and say enter your email, like that. So that should be enough. Then let's add one more form attribute here, or form field, and we call it let's use button. Say button, and the type is going to be submit, so that whenever we click this button, something happens. And inside this button, we're gonna put let's give it a class called let's call it login button maybe. So I call it login button, close this one here, and then say sign in or login. Since it's a login form, let's just use the words login instead. Login. But login won't look good, so let me put sign in. Sign in, because I want to use two words. If I put login, I'll have to just go ahead and join those words. Then I want to ask the user whether they have registered or not. So if they have not registered, I'm going to take them to the other page, which is called, just in case they don't have login details. Remember the other page we created in the other video, which is registration.php, this one here. So if they have not registered, we want to bring them back here and ask them to log in. I mean to register first before they start doing anything. So to do that, I'm going to create another div file here. I'll give it a class called let's say footer. Let's say it's a form footer, which I'm going to ask inside this div. I'm gonna put in a text, and this text is going to just have a paragraph tag, and this paragraph is going to just have a text called don't have an account, like a question. Have an account. If you don't have an account, then that's well and good. So we tell them what to do. So I'm gonna put this the next text down here. Actually, it will be better to pull this one down as well. So now here I can now put my link, the anchor tag with a href, which is going to send the user to register.php. And the register.php we have already created it earlier, so we just put it there. Then we say here sign up. That is asking the user to register. Signing up is just the same as registering. So we close this anchor tag, and we don't forget to close our PHP tag as well. I mean the paragraph tag. Okay, this should be enough. So we go ahead and save this file. Go to file, save as, and how do we save it? We're gonna save it as let's say login. Let's say login.html. I'm gonna choose the save as type as hypertext markup language. It's going to save it in my htdocs folder, in a folder called web, and everything is gonna be fine. So let me start my XAMPP first and PHP. So I'm going to start Apache and then MySQL, and once it's ready running, I'll go back to my code. Okay, MySQL has refused to start. Okay, now it has started. So I'll click on this admin, which will open for me the browser. Okay, right there. Now let me use, I prefer using this. So here I'll type localhost, and the localhost, I'll just put localhost like this, and it will bring me here. So I believe here you can see it. I'll open another one because I want to do something else in that other localhost. Then I will say /web and / we said it's login.html. Okay, something is wrong. We probably missed to close a tag up here. If you can see, it's even highlighting for us something. So in our meta tag we are missing something. This is not a tag, typo. Okay, so that should be it. And then our title tag, we also miss a capital, I mean a letter there. So we save this and go back here, not there exactly, right here, and refresh. Okay, there we go. So this is good, but then today I want us to add a styling. Last time we didn't style our page, so we're going to come to the header file here, and then we add our CSS. So that at least today I want to show you how to add CSS. Probably it's going to take us again a little bit more time, but it will be better for us to do that. So the first thing that I want to do, I'm going to add a box sizing to the entire body. So I'm going to use a universal selector, which you already know. First we add the style tag, and in this style tag we are going to add our styles there. Okay, like that. So the first thing is adding a universal CSS selector in this case, and in this universal CSS selector I'm just going to simply reset both the body and then every styling which had been there for this body. By default I'm going to remove it. So I will use first of all box sizing, which goes ahead and remove for us. I'm gonna say it's gonna be border box in this case. Okay, then let's remove the margin. on both sides, we first reset it to 0, and also the padding we also reset it to 0 as well. Okay, now if we save this, go back to our file here and refresh it, you'll realize that everything has gone back to this. All the other previous paddings and then the little bit of the spacing, it's already gone. So let's add our custom styles. So for the body, for the entire body, we are going to add let's give it a background. Let's give it a background of should I start with background? Yeah, it's okay. Let's first give it a background color. We shall change the font size afterwards. So the background color, I'm going to use a little bit of a light gray, though not gray, but just a little bit of a light gray. Where's my ash? Okay, right here. So F0, F2, I already have this style written somewhere, so I'm just copying it. You can also go ahead and do that. So when you save this and then check, it's a little bit of back gray now. Then let me change the font family. It's usually better to start with the font family in this case. So I'm going to change the font family to let's use SOG and see how it looks like, which sometimes they call Segway UI, like that, and see. But if that one is not available, then we try the Tahoma. And if Tahoma is not available, maybe say give me Geneva, or maybe say Vedana. And if none of them is available, then we go with the defaults, which is always found in most of the browsers. Sans serif is always found in most of the browser. So at the end of the day, that should change me the font. Let me see which one is gonna be picked. Okay, I think we are going with the Seigoi, I guess. Okay, then what else do we need? Let's change the display. We can put it, let's try flex and see how is flex like. Okay, it is not gonna show anything for now, but then it's gonna show us later. We can center, or could go ahead and justify our content, and we say we're gonna put it in the center. So we center and give it a height which is probably in the middle in this case. So height of 100 viewport. The viewport height of 100 is going to be the default. So we expect everything to be centered now. Okay, there, though not at the exact center, but that should be enough for the body. Then other styling, we can put it maybe say in the login container. Let's change our form. We could add borders around our form. So we say we had a class called login container, and in this class, this is where our form is found, the entire form. So first of all, we want to change its background to white, like full white. So give it background color of white, and so that everything can be seen, we give it a padding of about padding both sides of 2 rm should be fine. I can do for 2.5. Okay, then the radius, we change that radius to about 10 pixels should do. So border radius of 10 pixel. Let's see this, how it looks like. Okay, that one now looks much better. Okay, what else should we change? We can go ahead and give it a width, or maybe say, okay, let's first give it a little bit of a shadow using box shadow. Let's give it a shadow on of about let's give it 0 on the top, and then on the left and right we can give 4 pixel the size, and then maybe say 12 pixel on the left and right, 12, and we can give it a, let's use a black color, but I'm gonna use the RGBA. I usually prefer this in most of my settings. 0 again here, and then 0.1. That should be good. What else should I have here? Let's first see the border. Okay, now you see a little bit of a shadow coming around there. Let's just add the width, and then the max width we shall eliminate later. So let's say let the content cover the entire width of the container, and also we can give it a max width so that it doesn't cover every other entire space that we have in this screen, especially when we go ahead and try viewing it in the mobile device, like on our phones. So we can say, okay, you guys go and be up to about 400 pixels. There should be fine. This one here won't change much, but it will just reduce something small. All right, so the heading, let's make sure that heading looks a little bit nicer. So login header, in this case we can have something like let's add a margin, because if you see here there's no space down here, but there's space up. Let's add a margin down a little. So we can say margin bottom, margin bottom of about let's still use 2 rm, should be fine. And then we can also put its text to align center. We center line that content of the heading, and that should be enough. Then for the h2 itself, how do we pick the h2? Login header. So for any tag having the class login header, if any h2 has a class called login header, you pick it for me. That's what that selector is doing. And go ahead and change its color to, well, it's black but not really black, so I prefer always using that 333. And then we can give it a font size of about let's say 1.8 rm, and see if it's gonna be still the default size. And also we add a little bit of a margin bottom on it, and we say it's I think 0.5 should be enough for that RME. Can add a space here. Let's save this, refresh and see. Okay, not bad. Now coming back to our let's say the email, or maybe say the input text, but let's give the p tag also some coloring. So login header still, and then inside that we need a paragraph tag. So for the paragraph tag, what we're gonna do, we're going to give it a color of which is a little bit closer to black, but not black exactly. So I think 666 should do. Double colors like this normally give us what we're calling kind of a gray, though not gray. So reduce its size about, it should not be the same as the heading, the h2, because h2 is always bigger than it. What else do we need? You can go ahead and add spaces here if you want, but me, I don't want to. But for you can go ahead and add that. And then maybe say if you want to add comments where you probably need, like for instance here we're going to start styling our HTML form. So I can go ahead and say for my form elements style. So my form elements are those input tags, which I can add a comment for it like this. So first I'll pick the form group. So the form group, I'm going to give it a style of let's first just give it a margin bottom of about, let's say 1.2 should be good, RAM. Okay, then for the label, let's refresh this and see. Okay, so you see that one has spaced something for me. Now for the label, what we are gonna do, let's change the label, the styling for the label. So any tag which is called label, Anyway, let me keep adding this space. It looks a little bit nicer as well. So for the label, we're gonna give it a this. First of all, we give it a display block. Display, we're gonna say it's block. Then we reduce, maybe say add a margin a little bottom. Margin below it, we can give it like about, we could say 0.5 RME. Then we can go ahead and change its color, the same color that we gave the heading, I mean the H2 in the heading. We can also still go ahead and give it, that is that double 3 and the triple 3, and we give it a font weight, weight of about let's say 500 should do. Let's check that and see.